and welcome to Ignite with Mwangala. I'm your host, Mwangala Chakalashi Santos. Now remember, this is 2020 and we start this year with a hype. I am joined by Charity Salasini. Charity is a proprietor of Zela Art Gallery. Now we've always wondered, what is art and what does art do for an individual? She's here with us to take her through her art story. Charity, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Mwangala, and welcome to Zela, the home of nature, culture, and art.
Thank you so much. I am just so stunned by the serenity, the beauty of Zela. So what is Zela?
Thank you. Actually, the name Zela is a Mambo word, which means a place of tall trees. But underlying the word Zela is just this value where nature, culture, and art have to coexist. On that principle or that human value, we established Zela.
Okay, so before we talk about Zela in depth, how did you find yourself in art?
How did you? Thank you. Actually, I want to believe, like many other people do, we are born with that inner creativity and innovation as people, as young people. You can actually see it in children. I've seen it in my children and the children who come here, how they want to scribble on things, to put small things together, including just putting leaves together and making something out of it. The only difference is other people develop it further and they become more and more creative and more adapting to that kind of activity, and they are called artists. The rest of it, us, maybe we suppress it.
I think so, because I think we're naturally very creative.
Very creative, yes. So we are inspired. Firstly, if we talk Zela, Zela as an establishment, because it's a family art gallery and homestay. Zela as an establishment, my husband and I, we are inspired mostly by our background. Firstly, if you talk nature, we are bush people. We were brought up in the mountains and forests of northern and Mchinga provinces. He comes from Mwangala. I have spent my childhood in Mchinga province. I went to school at a local school called Kavale Primary School, went to a mission secondary school called Luchikila Girls. He was also based in Mbala and went to Lubush Minor Seminary. And when you look at the geographical position and also just the environment of northern and Mchinga provinces, they are really populated with nature, trees, the mountains, rivers, and so the point is we are inspired. We are coming from that background. This bush people character is what we carried through. Even when we came to establish Zela, we said, well, we have found indigenous trees here.
Of course.
And what a marvel. Because it's like reliving our childhood. We said, nothing should ever be destroyed from here. It must be nurtured. And this nurturing, we have actually combined it with a bit of exotic trees. But the culture of cutting indigenous trees, everything when you are building and bring exotic plants there, I think that is uncivilized mind, if you asked me.
I like that. I just like the way you unapologetically say we are bush people. My husband and I are bush people.
Yes.
Proudly putting it out there for me to know that there's nothing wrong with actually coming from the village and nurturing what we may find in the villages. Look at what you have done.
Exactly.
Now I read an article where you were saying that art is an experience. You actually live it. What do you mean when you say that?
Yes. For us, Zela Art Gallery and Homestay, the way it is written and sounds is the way we live it every day. It's a home, but it's an art gallery. And when you are visiting Zela, the experience, you are not visiting Zela to come and see. You are visiting Zela to have an experience because you are going to find people here. The conventional gallery is a space which is somewhere away from the home. And there are people visiting it and you find everything in one space. But when you come to Zela, you actually find a home here, an art gallery here. And because of that, the art gallery is spaced out or displayed in 3 major spaces. There is an inner space, there is an immediate outer space, because by design, our house has an immediate outer space because it's based on the open plan design. And then we have the actual outer space where we are seated here in the lawns with the stone sculptures. So in these 3 spaces, you will find art displayed, and that is Zela. And because of that, you don't just view art, you experience it. You go to the dining, you find art. In the living room, you find art. You go to the swimming pool, you find
there's art
there's art because we live here. It's a home as well.
I love that concept. How have you managed to allow people to come in your private space? Because I think not a lot of people do that.
I do understand. And we actually tried to struggle with it at the time we declare now, because we were collecting initially for our own enjoyment and understanding. But you find that we had more than 150 pieces of art. We said, whoa, this is good passion. But who lives with 150 pieces and not sharing with the rest of the community? Because art has to be shared. There's a lot that we learn from. For us, we have been learning a lot from art. We learn a lot from art. It's keeping our history. It's explaining our ethnographies, our lifestyles. To me, actually, it speaks to us even in the prediction of our future sometimes. I came across, for instance, an art piece which was done by an artist called Patrick Mumba. And this art piece, it just said Lusaka 2000. Now, Lusaka 2000, in that art piece, had houses whose rooftops were joined like this. That time when it was produced, we laughed. We said, this artist, Lusaka 2000 would look like this, but what are we seeing today?
Of course,
We have developed to the level that Lusaka's population has increased and the houses are like this. So my point is, art can also predict the future.
That's powerful.
Because that is the mind of an artist. So we find that we had 150 pieces. We said, why can't we share with the rest of the community? Of course, we had a challenge because we are a family. 2 of our children are young. 2 of our first children, we would consider that they would understand. But how do we go around it? We had to sit and deliberate for a long time, planned together with the children as well. And because we have been raising them in the art environment, they do a lot of art activities inside the house. You saw the art room there for them. So they understood that we can now open it up as a private art gallery, allow people in our private space. But how did we do this? We said these young ones, they still need the environment of a home. So we can only open Zela twice in a week.
Okay.
And that is Saturday and Sunday afternoon.
So on a day like today is open?
It's open to the public.
Okay.
But it's also by booking. Prior booking.
So you don't just show up?
No, you don't just show up. You have to book because we are on the website, and also we have the other ways, like we distribute cards to people, but you tell them before you come to Zela, you have to pre-book. And that helps us to control the traffic that comes to Zela. So for the sake of the young ones who are still growing, they still need their privacy of a home and family.
Okay. Now, I'm a parent, and I know there are so many parents that are watching out there.
Yes.
You know, I just saw a room, and I keep saying I had my wow moment in that room.
Yes,
because
I remember
for me,
that.
it looked very messy.
Yes,
but for you, you're saying, no, you have to nurture all that. What would your message be to the mother who has a child who is scribbling on the walls, tearing papers left, right, and center?
We should be asking, are children crazy?
I think they are sometimes.
No, that craziness is what we need to change the world. Every child has it because it's a universal phenomenon. It's a universal inborn thing for a child to express themselves in whichever format. If they are not singing, they are dancing, they are scribbling, and we call it graffiti, we call it dirty, you have spilled, you have done all that. But they will find a forum, the pillowcases, everywhere on the walls, they will scribble. So that, if it's an inner thing, we can turn it into a positive thing. That room that you saw, we deliberately designed it for our children, but now we actually accommodate any child who visits here and they want to have a moment, even an adult like you.
Of course.
You can have a moment there, as you said, you can have a wow moment or just an experience. Because one thing is, that is where it's all coming from. That is where it's all beginning. We begin with this energy. We are brought into this world with
So
this
much
energy, which is like fire, which comes from the gods. But in case of you and me, we are talking about the creator. So that energy, we shouldn't suppress it. Let's get something positive out of it. I've seen 2 of my children who used that room before so many times, splashing paint and collecting leaves and whatever. They have now, one of them is an architect, which is just like an advanced form of art. And the other one, though she is studying food science and technology, but she actually practices art. So we are nurturing creative minds through that room. So I would advise parents, mothers, fathers, let's understand these children and just draw something positive from that scribbling, throwing around the paint or fixing leaves, collecting, because they also collect garbage.
They do.
We think it is junk. They have seen something, and that's what an artist does. This is stone in front of us here. It was junk where they got it from, but look at what the artist saw inside. A beautiful piece of 2 lovers. It's keeping our history.
I mean, it's like you're talking to me and I have sitting here listening to you. I have my own regrets. I remember, I don't know how many times I painted my house because my little one kept on painting and writing.
Scribbling.
And up to now, he's actually very, very creative.
Yes.
He still does that. And I'm asking myself, so how do I harness this energy into a positive? That's just what you've said.
Exactly.
Harness it into a positive because, you know, it ends up to be something that we all look at and we're amazed.
And wow.
Yeah, we are wow. That's a word.
Wow feeling.
So I'm wondering, what inspired you to actually come up with such a place?
Exactly. One, I mentioned where we are coming from. We are bush people. My husband and I, we love the bush. We love nature. And that one, we kept it. That one aspect of Zela, there must be nature around us. So here, you don't cut a tree. We even, if to exaggerate the story, we even count the leaves.
I like that. We count the leaves and the trees.
And the trees, we know which branch is drying up. And if you force it to go out of a tree, we will know that it didn't drop on its own. You forced. That is one aspect.
Right, I like that.
Where we are coming from, our background. Then 2, my husband has got an engineering background, and I'm just realizing that actually what sits beneath an engineer there, it's an artistic mind, and the artistic mind in the sense of creative thinking.
I know.
That's why we have all these wonders of the world created by engineers, because they behave like artists. So that is one thing. Then the other thing, my background, I'm an anthropologist.
I can't even pronounce that word. Maybe explain what that is.
Actually, I have a background of museology. Museology is basically, I worked in the museum. I work in the museum. They train you to work in the museum and manage the museums. And you know what museums do keep is our culture and our heritage. So you get inspired by all these things that our people of the older generations were making. But what we don't realize, those things, I used the word inspire deliberately. Those things, when they inspire you, you can bring them to life, to speak to you and me in our contemporary settings. Contemporary setting is what you're calling modern. Tell me, what is so traditional about this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. But this could have been inspired from museum collections or the heritage and culture that we really want to be throwing away through the window or together with the water for the bathing. You throw the water together with the baby.
Together with the baby, true, yeah.
That's what we want to do. And start priding ourselves in borrowed robes. Then
you
we
imagine?
look awkward.
Yeah, true.
Because
True.
we can't explain what it
Exactly.
is sometimes.
Yeah.
So those things inspired us as a family, because when you are coming up with things like this, you do it as a united force. It speaks to a larger audience. It speaks to a generation. It reserves our history. Because I could have married a person who doesn't really understand all these things, and they wouldn't be interested. But we are sharing these interests, so it's a combined force. That's why Zela Art Gallery, it's a family establishment, it's a private and family establishment art gallery.
Fantastic. So I know that we're talking about Zela and people are wondering, what is this Zela? We're going to take a tour of Zela, but before we take that tour, before the interview, you and I were chatting. I think we met earlier.
Yes.
Is it a week ago? And
Days ago.
we were both in our head wraps. We meet again today. We were
I
both
were
in our
both in
head
our
wraps.
head wraps.
And before we take that tour, I want you to say it to the people that are watching us now, how profound the head wrap is.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I will ask you a question. How do you feel when you are dressing up?
Well, when I'm without a head wrap, I tend to be not very clear with how my interview is going to go. But funny enough, when I wear my head wrap, I tend to feel very confident, like I can talk to anybody with ease. So there's just something around the head wrap.
And you even
which
carry a
completes me.
certain sense of pride.
Of course, I do.
Naturally.
Naturally, everything
you.
just
And
just
you
flows
just
in place.
flows.
I flow. I'm
Everywhere.
at ease, and
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
I'm like, this is me. I'm home.
I'm home.
Yeah,
Nafik.
Nafika. Does that do the same for you?
Thank you. You see, when I was young, I watched my grandmother with her white hair, because I enjoyed going to my grandmother, and that this is also a distance of a bush from my mother's village and to where they
another
stayed.
bush.
No, actually at the farm. So, you know, she would be pounding and whatever, sometimes she removes, and I would, hey, grandmother with gray hair and things like that. Immediately visitors come and they want to engage in a conversation, she runs into her bedroom, puts a headgear or head wrap, and she will come and sit there and start talking to them.
Wow.
And one thing I observed, she has dignified her position, because now you have come here, this is my home, and you have come to visit me, I can talk with you in dignity. She has dignified her position. Then two, she takes up authority. I think it's like a crown.
Oh, that's right.
Yes.
I've taken a position.
You take your position and you carry your authority,
Yeah.
and you can address the audience, or you can conversate, or you can dialogue. So for me, I've just found this fundamental principle around the headgear. That's why the royalties, they didn't probably wear a crown as we see them in movies or as depicted in the Western cultures. They would wear something like this, but some headgear of some sort is to signify their position and the place and the authority. You could even use the headgear to interpret or to understand who are you talking to, who are you addressing, and in what context. So from that point of view, I also move in the same way, like you, and feel just like that.
High five. We have taken our positions.
Exactly, and I'm carrying my authority.
Oh, I love that.
I can speak on matters of national importance, family importance, values, and everything. It's me.
It's Charity
I'm
Salaseni.
here.
It's Mwangala C. Santos. She's here.
Thank you.
I take a commercial break. When we come back on the other side, Charity is going to take us through Zela. We're going to go on a conducted tour of Zela. Please don't go away.
To advertise on this program and enjoy amazing introductory rates, please call us on +260 211 290959 or +260 211 290912 or +260 953 538 000 or send us an email at loyolazam@gmail.com.
Welcome back. So if you're joining us now, we are at Zela Art Gallery where we took a conducted tour, and I am seated with Charity Salasini. I am so wild, Charity. I mean, that tour,
Yes.
I'm thinking I live here. I
Yes.
should stay here.
Yes.
You can
You're
adopt
welcome.
me, I think. Because I like
you
what
are
I saw.
incorporated. We love networking.
Oh,
we
fantastic.
love networking because it builds us. We united, we stand.
Oh, yeah.
Divided,
We fall, for sure.
Thank you.
So your final remarks to the people that are watching us now and the people that would like to come and see what I've seen firsthand.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
Whichever angle you look at, if you talk nature, you talk culture, and you talk art, I think these three aspects of humanity cannot exist in isolation. They can actually be existing together. We should talk coexistence. But we are seeing in modern constructions, for instance, you want to build your house, a beautiful house. You don't actually think about your immediate surroundings. They are very important.
Yeah.
I have witnessed it with my own eyes and my own body. In October here, I would be coming from somewhere, town or wherever, in some open spaces.
Yeah.
I reach at Zela. You know, I'm flaming up because the heat has traumatized me.
I know,
The
right?
characters, they worsen it, the vehicles, you have headache, instant headache. But I'm not exaggerating, Mwangala. Immediately I just enter into Zela, I calm down.
No, I felt that when I was
Yes,
coming
I calm
this
down.
morning. I think I told you that.
I think so. The natural breeze just throws you together, pulls you together. So why would you exclude nature from your development? Why should we exclude nature from national development, community development, society development, even the smallest unity of social organization, which is a family? Why do you want to exclude nature? Because you benefit.
True.
So for me, when you are constructing, you are establishing whatever you are establishing, think of nature, how you incorporate it in, make it green, because we have this in Zambia. It's possible to make a place green.
True.
It will just help you to live a very healthy life. Then secondly, when you look at culture, culture is our birthright. Even Jesus himself was born in which culture? Jewish.
Yeah. He had a culture.
So it's our birthright. It helps us to define ourselves so that I appreciate me, who I am, so that I can appreciate the next person around. Culture should not be a dividing point. Culture should be looked at as a model of unity in diversity, because when there is variety, that is what you call development. If we just talk mono development, is this world going to be exciting? No excitement, no appreciation, no even fundamental thinking would appear. So our culture is our birthright, is our mode for development, is our basis for human coexistence. So that's why the component of culture comes in at Zela. And we advise, if you are developing also, just bring in, even just hanging it to basket per office. That is something, you are forming an expression. I will learn something from what you have done.
Yeah.
And maybe borrow a component, add it together with the Chiduko of Mwangala, and come up with something beautiful in this world.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Art is our innermost expression of the world we live in.
I love that. The innermost expression
Innermost
of the world we live in.
we live in.
Powerful.
I would have seen the world in this way. I may not be good at talking, but I may be very good to put it in a stone sculpture like this. Mwangala wants to write a book because she's good at expressing herself in a written form.
Exactly.
That is another form of art. So for me, when you talk nature, culture, and art, these three things can coexist and make the world we live in a better place.
I love that. This has been Mwangala Chakalashi Santos. Join me for yet another exciting episode.